This chapter was nothing more than a mad dash to the roof. Literally, that's it. Roof Peace continues as we continue to see that. And I'm so glad for this because it's one of those things that I was hoping Oda would do. I felt Oda would do because it's a very Oda thing to do. And that's Momonosuke is still afraid of heights. Even as this big drag, he even says, lifting my head up still is too high for me. And I'm just like, yeah, because he's still a little kid. Like, at this point, anyone who's thinking that he's going to actually be a challenge for Kaido is very mistaken. Because Momonosuke's not skilled in this form. He's not skilled in combat. No skills that he would have has been developed at this point. Hell, even if he does have muscle mass in his human form, there's no telling if he'll even know how to do anything in terms of actually fighting. So, points to Oda for this. It still feels like such a tragedy to me that Momonosuke sacrificed 20 years of his life because I'm sorry, like, he's in his prime. At this point, for him to actually grow and develop, there's no telling if he'll actually be able to get stronger, if he'll actually able to develop as a person properly. Having a family is dubious at best. I just still have so many hang-ups on the aging of Momo, but regardless, the real cool thing is Yamato's continued battle against their father, because we actually get to see a ability that Yamato calls Mirror Mountain, and it's kind of hard to tell, but I think, and I'm just spitballing, I think all of the damage that Yamato had received in the battle against Kaido, because we even see Kaido had actual blood drawn when Yamato attacked. So Yamato drew blood. No fucking around. Yamato actually drew blood. If only just like some Thanos, all that for a drop of blood. But Yamato apparently was it seemed almost like it was like Gaara. When he has the outer protective layer of sand, Yamato has an outer protective layer of ice to help defend them against attacks, and that's what Kaido ultimately ended up breaking through. So that's actually pretty amazing, as Kaido even admits, you defended against the attack. As Yamato then goes in with a souped up attack called the Hallowed Glacier Slash, which is basically just them bringing the thunder with their heavy strike from above. And Yamato actually does manage to slam Kaido into the ground. So, I mean, it is kind of seeming like Yamato is definitely on the same level as Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. Though it still is just kind of hard to tell if some part of Kaido is holding back to some degree, or if this is a true Kaido's not fucking around here situation. As Kaido even calls out, it's just like, you can't escape your bloodline, you are still the son of Kaido. None of these samurai around here see you as their friends. Why would you choose to fight for them? Basically pulling the "you're still my family" card. And even if you fight for these people, they'll still see you as a child of the person who drove their country into ruin, which is true. And honestly speaking, it's pretty on brand because, I mean, look at Orochi's whole entire family situation. The Kurazumis were prosecuted because of the actions of one of them. Just one of them. The entire family was hunted, and the entire events of Orochi, Kanjuro, all of them just happened because of that. So he's not exactly wrong in this vein. But Yamato doesn't want to hear it. Most of the friends that Yamato had, they died. Specifically, Yamato thinking of Ace. But Kaido also says, there was those samurais in the cave, and everyone who showed favor to you. They're all dead though. I killed them. And that's the real heartbreaking moment. Like, I'm sorry, I wasn't really heartbroken about the events of the previous chapter for some reason. It just didn't strike the chord with me that I would have wanted. But this kind of did, because there were those amongst Kaido's beast pirates that did try to help out Yamato, did try to just be there for them, because they were good people enough to be like, this is a child that's starving here. Of course I'm going to try to give them food. And they were put to death for it, for trying to feed the ogre princess, who was running around saying they wanted to be like Odin. All for that. And that really kind of got me a little bit, because that's such a sad situation. Like, at least with those who I assume to be the daimyo of Wano, they were going to die regardless. That was the thing. They were never going to submit to Kaido, and they were just not going to wait around in a cave to starve to death. So they decided, well, we were going to do this anyway. At least we can use it for someone who's going to, at the very bare minimum, fight for our side in the future. It's a worthy cause that we're at least dying for. So I had no tears for that, because it's just like, I mean, yeah, that's the man thing to do. That's the samurai thing to do. I was all on board for that. But here it's just like, it was kindness. Just people trying to show some kindness to Yamato, and they died because of it. That is tragic. That is sorrowful. That is sad. And then Kaido just starts beating Yamato, and you can see the Conqueror's Haki coming off of his club, and he just starts boom, 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 just slamming down on Yamato. And Kaido says something that really kind of, sends off a flare in my mind, is that you are the child of ogres. You are meant to rule others with strength. You are not meant to be friends with humans. And it's in that moment that I'm like, there we go, that's the connection. Because I've always said there is some other race that the likes of Kaido, Yamato, Black Maria, Ulti, Page 1, and I think that's about it. They are a part of some other race, because they seem to be a little bit more durable than the others, and they have these natural horns. With a lot of other members of the Beast Pirates, they don't have that, but with Kaido, Yamato, Black Maria, Ulti, Page 1, their horns are a part of their body. Those horns aren't for show. They actually have those horns. And it's just them as far as I can tell. But to know who else has those kinds of horns, very similar to Kaido, Oars, or Little Oars Jr., and even the numbers. Artificial ancient giant. Oars and Oars Jr. are ancient giants. So I'm thinking that there's some connection to the ancient giants and Kaido that makes them Oni. Because their race, Kaido and Black Maria, they only grew to be so large. They only ever grew to be so large, but the ancient giants are, several times larger than they are. Just several times larger than they are, because they're larger than actual giants as well. So Kaido and Yamato, they are apparently ogres, but what makes them ogres? There is definitely some connection to Oars and Oars Jr., the ancient giants. We just need to figure that out. There's a piece of the puzzle, a missing link that we're not getting just yet, that I'm waiting to find out about, because it's definitely something going on in Kaido's backstory, because the way he speaks about friendship being a sham, that it's all for show, deep down they fear you, you have to rule others with strength, you are an ogre, you aren't meant to be friends with humans. Like, it feels a lot like this is Kaido speaking from his own experiences, that he tried to extend extend the hand of friendship to humans, and he never got that. That's why he decided to rule over humanity with strength, with power, because that was the only thing that got him respect in any way, shape, or form. Me and my buddy have talked about this in our Talking 2D podcast. It's just, there's definitely some kind of emotional response to the way that Kaido does things, very similar to how Big Mom does things, very similar to how Whitebeard did things. He ran his crew because he wanted family. Big Mom ran her crew in the hopes of bringing people together, and the only people she could trust being her direct family, a mother figure at the top of things. And to a certain degree, it did build a lot of loyalty from her children. It's just that when a lot of her children had the chance to just go off and start their own families, it was a lot of those children who betrayed her. Praline, Lola, well, not so much Lola, but see how she turned on Lola as soon as Lola ran out of favor with her. But definitely Chiffon, as soon as she could go off with Beige, as well as Praline, who got married to Aladdin. Like, a lot of the ones who got to be a part of another family were the ones who chose that family over Big Mom because they had the choice. But with Kaido, I mean, his crew is run on fear, on those he defeated and brought into his fold. The idea of any sort of loyalty amongst any of his subordinates is honestly kind of laughable because of the way he runs things, but the way he runs things comes from a place of his own fear. Like, there's a lot to psychoanalyze about Kaido in all of this. And juxtaposed to this, speaking of Kaido's own fears, you have Momo's true fear of heights, as he does try to fly Luffy up to Onigashima, but he shuts his eyes because of his own fear, and he's not aiming properly, so he goes crashing into the performance floor where Sanji, Queen, Zoro, and King are all battling it out. Everyone at first is just like, oh, is that Kaido? Only to realize, wait, no, he's pink. Who is that? Because most of the Beast Pirates would know that Kaido can't change colors. Like, he can do a lot of things, but he can't change colors. And so Momo just goes crashing throughout Onigashima, just boom, 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 just slamming through everything. Through the second floor, up to where Big Mom is facing off against Law and Kid, and they're just like, what the shit is going on? As Luffy is desperately trying to get Momo to open his damn eyes to see where he's going. And some people think that it's just like, oh, it's Kaido rampaging through the castle. And it's just like, no, it's not him, but how are there two dragons? It's a different color, you dumbass! Find out who the fuck that is! Kill him! And Kaido up above on the Skull Dome is just like, must be Lin. And I'm just like, no, Kaido, no, not quite. As Yamato, who's out of their hybrid form, is just like, I'm not done yet, and charges up some Conqueror's Haki on their weapon. And in the background, you just see little Momonosuke just flying upward, and Kaido's just like, fuck? He just looks in the background like, the hell is that? So as Yamato is coming in for an attack, Luffy tells Momonosuke, there's Kaido. And as soon as he knows that Kaido's there, as well as the ground, he goes racing towards it. Luffy just, with a quickness, turns into his Gear 4 Snake Man form, like no fanfare or anything. He just poof, Snake Man, and we get a double tag team attack of Yamato's Divine Swiftness White Serpent attack, as well as Luffy's Jet Calverin, both charged with Conqueror's Haki. And it's just like, yeah, that definitely would knock Kaido right on his ass. Like, two people with Conqueror's Haki infused attacks going at him? Yeah, no, he definitely felt that one. And Luffy just poof right out of Gear 4th. And I'm just like, man, he's getting really good at that. It's not like he wasn't capable of that before, but he's getting really skilled at just switching back and forth out of his Gear 4th forms. So very impressive stuff. As Luffy thanks Yamato, or as he refers to them, Yamao, because Luffy hasn't fully embraced Yamato to the full extent of his crew just yet. Despite everything pointing that way, he's still referring to Yamato by a nickname, which is what he does to people who are fairly close. You're getting in pretty close, but you're not quite crew just yet. But he thanks Yamao for holding back Kaido this entire time. As Kaido transforms into his dragon form, is shocked to see that Straw Hat has survived and is wondering, who the heck is this other dragon? But Yamato is just like, Pink Dragon? No, he couldn't be. As Luffy makes his declaration, I am the man who will be king of the pirates. And Momonosuke is like, I am Kozuki Momonosuke, after stuttering over his words for a little bit. And is like, I am the man who will be shogun of Wano. And Yamato's just like, that little kid, how did he turn into all of this? Yeah, no, he's not a little kid anymore, for better or for worse. But Kaido is surprised, but he's determined that the world doesn't need two dragons, which, man, haven't we heard of that before, when he's just like, the world doesn't need all these divine conquerors, when you're talking about Luffy and Kid's Conqueror's Haki. He's just like, the world doesn't need all these conquerors. But who knows? I don't think Momo will actually be solid in an actual fight. At most, he might kind of throw Kaido off at the very least. But with both Luffy and Yamato, with their advanced Conqueror's Haki techniques and all of that, they hopefully should be able to do some damage. Like, Luffy is a bit of a step above, and Yamato was actually able to, bring their father to a bit of a draw. Kinda. You'd actually get in some pretty good hits. So, Kaido has to be getting at least a little tired after all of this. We'll just have to wait and see. But that ends off the chapter. Let's see if Momonosuke can actually show up and show off with his new grown-up adult form. See if that actually makes a bit of difference. Luffy and Yamato teaming up. We both mostly just have a whole bunch of mythical ass looking people up in this shit. Because Yamato's hybrid form looks like a mythical being. Momo is a mythical dragon. Luffy has already been stated to be this mythical seeming creature. Like, a lot of mythical looking motherfuckers up in this fighting against Kaido. So maybe they can actually make the difference. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about the thoughts of what Kaido's ogre race could actually be, as well as his backstory? Do you think Momo will actually be able to tussle straight out with Kaido? Will he actually make any of a difference? It is pretty cool having dueling dragons. I love that ride. And Pink is close enough to Red to kind of be along those lines. But can our heroes actually do it at this point? I mean, Luffy has lost enough times that by this point he should have at least a little bit of a way of defeating Kaido. But how will he do it? How will he definitively take down the strongest creature? Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comment section below. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.